Sometimes, love doesn't announce itself with fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes it whispers. And sometimes it shows itself in a single touch. For Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, that touch changed everything. It wasn't on a set. It wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't planned. It was quiet. It was fleeting. And yet it said everything. The clip appeared online late at night. A brief moment captured by chance. Just long enough to make hearts stop and pulses race. Dylan Wang reached out. His hand brushed against Shen Yue's. Just once. And the world shifted. For those few seconds, the universe seemed to pause. Fans replayed the clip endlessly. Slow motion. Zoom. Frame by frame. Because in that single touch, there was more than friendship. There was intimacy. There was warmth. There was love. But it wasn't the touch itself that captured everyone's attention. It was the way they both lingered in it. Shen Yue didn't pull away. Her fingers met his without hesitation. Without awkwardness, without fear. And Dylan Wang's eyes. They were soft. They weren't performing for anyone. They weren't rehearsing. They were focused on her. In that one touch, everything unspoken between them became visible. Fans started to look back at old footage. Every handshake, every laugh, every subtle brush of arms suddenly made sense. Moments that seemed casual before now glowed with meaning. They noticed the way Dylan Wang always glanced toward her first, before looking at anyone else. The way Shen Yue smiled a little brighter when he was near. The little gestures that were almost invisible, until you knew what to look for. And once you saw that one touch, everything else became clear. It wasn't love declared in words. It was love shown in presence, in attention, in a simple, fleeting connection that could easily have been missed. But it wasn't missed. Not by anyone paying attention. Not by the millions who watched that clip. And not by the fans who had been following their journey for years. Because this was the kind of moment that tells the truth better than words ever could. Some wondered if it was just coincidence. Some believed it was fate. But what no one could argue was the feeling it left behind. A warmth. A quiet certainty. A realization that these two people, Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, had something extraordinary. It reminded fans of the early days of their connection. The first time they worked together. The shy smiles on set. The way their conversations seemed to flow naturally. The way they laughed at each other's jokes. Even when no one else noticed. Their chemistry wasn't forced. It wasn't scripted. It had always been there. Waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And that one touch was the tipping point. Social media erupted within hours. Fans dissected every frame. Reaction videos multiplied. Slow-motion edits highlighted the smallest details. The curl of a finger, the tilt of a wrist, the way their shoulders aligned. The comments were unanimous. They're in love. You can see it. Everything about this is real. This isn't acting. This is them. And the more people watched, the more convinced they became. But what made this moment so special wasn't just the physical touch. It was the energy behind it. Dylan Wang had always been guarded. Reserved. Careful. Not someone who revealed emotions easily. Yet in that brief connection, he let down his walls. He let himself be seen. And Shen Yue, too, revealed her trust. Her openness. Her willingness to meet him halfway. To acknowledge the bond that had grown quietly between them. It was the kind of intimacy that doesn't happen overnight. It's built slowly, layer by layer, through years of shared moments, through laughter and frustration, through quiet support and understanding. And in that touch, the world could see it all. Fans speculated endlessly about what led up to it. Were they discussing something serious just before? Was it a comforting gesture? Or was it the culmination of weeks, maybe months, of unspoken feelings? No one knew for sure. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Because love isn't always explained. Sometimes it's simply felt. The clip also sparked a renewed interest in their previous interactions. Every interview, every behind-the-scenes video, every fan event was rewatched with new perspective. Fans noticed the subtle glances that had passed unnoticed. The way Dylan Wang would instinctively step closer when Shen Yue approached. The way Shen Yue would tilt her head, searching for his reaction. It became clear that their connection had always been there. It had just been waiting for the world to catch up. Even among casual viewers, the clip resonated. People who had never been fans of Dylan Wang or Shen Yue felt the authenticity of the moment. They saw two people completely present with each other. And it was impossible to ignore. Because love doesn't always need grand gestures. Sometimes it needs nothing more than a touch. A glance. A shared heartbeat. And this was exactly that. As days turned into weeks, the clip continued to circulate. It wasn't just a fleeting trend. It became a reference point, a symbol. Whenever fans wanted proof that real romance could exist, they returned to that moment. It was simple. It was fleeting. It was perfect. For Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, of course, life went on. The cameras kept rolling. Schedules remained packed. The world continued to watch. Yet something had shifted. Something between them had changed. That touch wasn't just for the fans. It wasn't a performance. It was a message, a promise, a recognition, a declaration of feelings that words might never capture. And that's why it mattered. Because love, at its core, is not about recognition. It's about connection. It's about the moments only the people involved truly understand. That single touch said, "I see you. I care for you. I am here." And for those watching, it said, "Love exists. It is possible. It is real." Soon after, fan communities flourished with theories and fan art inspired by the moment. Poems were written. Videos were edited. Every subtle movement was analyzed. But even with all the attention, the beauty remained in its simplicity. It wasn't a dramatic confession. It wasn't a staged scene. It was simply two people connecting in a world that often demanded spectacle. Some fans reflected on their own relationships as they watched. How often do we miss the significance of a hand held? A brush of fingers? A reassuring glance? And in seeing Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, they were reminded that love is sometimes quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. It simply is. And for Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, that moment became a turning point. It wasn't the first time they had felt for each other. It wasn't even the first sign of their growing affection. But it was the first time the world could see it too. And that visibility changed everything. The media caught wind immediately. Entertainment news outlets covered the clip extensively. Headlines read, "Dylan Wang and Shen Yue, is this love?" Fans convinced, one touch speaks volumes. But even with the attention, neither of them commented. Because it didn't need words. The touch had already said enough. Over time, that moment became symbolic of their relationship. A reminder of the authenticity between them. A touch that spoke louder than any interview, any statement, any rumor. It represented trust, comfort, understanding. And for the fans, it represented hope. Hope that love can exist in the simplest gestures. Hope that emotions don't.